Well, hello YouTubers. And the questions come up. What modifications have I done to make this old BMW a successful iron butt ride? Well, honestly, the first thing I added was this 4-gallon 15-liter Jazz fuel cell. That's that blue and burgundy bag on the back is the cover for it. Well, here you can see it without that cover. I had put the cover on, or I made that fake bag, for two reasons. It's black, it would soak up a lot of heat in the sun, so the lighter colors are better. Also, just to keep the prying eyes of people, from tampering with it or even knowing what's going on. And I think to the cops, policemen I should say, out on the highway, if they saw this, they might say, whoa, wait a minute, I better pull this guy over and find out what's going on. So I think a decoy is a nice thing to do. And I've never been stopped, never been asked. That is kind of funny part. I've filled this tank up dozens of times and never once been questioned why I was putting a gas nozzle into a bag on the back of the bike. Well, my first BMW, or excuse me, not my first BMW, but my first iron butt riding, I had mounted a 5-gallon cell on my 1150 GS where the passenger seat was, but on this bike the very complete tool roll is stored under the seat forward of the battery, and mounting the cell on the seat would have added a lot of complications. I like the tool roll where it is, since it weighs about 5 pounds, and where it is stock is nice and central. Grafting the fuel cell to the stock supply was pretty straightforward, since this is a gravity feed, a constant velocity carb system. Well, here is the gravity feed part. It comes down out of the fuel cell down to that little valve, the black fuel line, and then there's my on-off valve that I can reach very easily and open the supply. And then that yellow line is what's fed in underneath the seat. It's on top of the air box where it tees into my main fuel lines right here from the petcock to the carburetor. This comes up to a T underneath, which is fed from that yellow line that you saw out back. So that little T is all that's needed, and gravity does the rest. My old GS was fuel injected, and I needed to include a transfer pump and then run out the main tank enough to pump the aux into it. But here I typically just run off the aux tank until empty and then turn on the main tank petcocks. I like to get that extra 24 pounds, 10 kilograms or so, hanging off the back as soon as possible. With 10.34 gallons, about 39 liters, with both tanks full and about 40 miles per gallon, it gives me a theoretical range of 413 miles, 665 kilometers, and I have zero range anxiety. Plus, the iron butt rules require a business dated receipt which must show the city, state, date, and time at least every 350 miles, 536K. Most gas pumps here in the US print out such receipt. I do not know of one local, or excuse me, I do know of a local that has only the date and time, so always check the pump before pulling away. So I fill either the main or the aux tank first, check for the receipt, and then fill the other one. So enough for the bike range. Now what I need to rack up those miles is a comfy seat. After my first Saddle Sore 1000 on this bike, I did have a very sore saddle. So this Airhawk came to the rescue. I've had custom seats from Russell and Corbin, and frankly the Airhawk is fine at a fraction of the price. Next I wanted a little back support. With my old GS having the fuel tank straight behind me, it was simple to put a little padding on there. But in this case, I just use the old gym bag, and then I throw in a homemade backrest. Very simple, just a piece of wood with a pad on the front. I simply use a bungee net to hold it to the seat. Works good, but every now and then I have to adjust the location. Next, since I like to start my Saddle Sore 1000s around midnight, I really want it more light up front. Since the alternator is pretty weak, about 240 watts if everything is perfect, just running the high beam headlight with my electric heated vest put a load on the power supplies, so I installed these two LED lights. The right is a flood and the left is a spot. BMW offered as an option flip out fog lights instead of the air intakes. My first R100RT and 83 version had them. They were a nice bit of kit, but the halogen really sucked the amps. But for my needs, the nice thing about having those fog lights as an option was that the mounting bosses are still inside the air ducts. So a bit of angle aluminum and some bolts, and voila, custom driving light brackets. Well, I suppose that's about it for how to make an old Beamer a iron butt ride. Maybe next time I'll do a video on my personal kind of stuff, like the tank bag, the water, the food, spares, and things of that nature. I guess next I should think, is there anything that needs to be upgraded to make it a better ride? Well, since I like to leave, about midnight on these rides, lighting is always an issue. And I think the one area that still needs improvement is the actual headlight. It's, of course, 1981 vintage, so it's a halogen H4, which I believe draws 55 watts on low and 100 watts on high. I think I would like to put an LED in, which has higher lumens, I believe, and also only draws 25 watts on high. So that would leave a nice bit of extra watts to run my electric vest and heated gloves, should I need those anytime. Certainly not in July. So that's it. Thank you for watching.